So they have come out. The top administration officers have come out to say they are not directly involved with the murder. However, the international community is not buying that, right? Everybody that was involved in the killing of the journalist linked to the Prince of Saudi Arabia, and he kind of puts him in that place where he's now trying to set up those things to make things balance. Now, if you look at it, the way they are looking to set it up is that they are trying to find a way to balance that oil output, right? And looking at that, that would eventually want to push price to the upper side. Now, top officials from Saudi Arabia have hinted at the market, if sanctions get to push back to Saudi Arabia, they will look to squeeze on their supply. Yeah. Saudi Arabia in itself brings about 10 million barrels per day. Now, imagine having half of that out of the market. That is looking to push price to maybe 100, 200 or 400 dollars per barrel.
Okay, so you see that as their retaliation against sanctions from the U.S.?
Yes, they will do that. And Saudi Arabia, you should know the way they stand. They try to send their message, although indirectly, but they do that. So they have claimed they wouldn't do that. They have a situation in 1973 where they actually put an oil embargo, and we saw what happened to price from $6 to $12. Now, if that is going to repeat a case like that, they would try to squeeze the market to force the international community to feel the pain so that those sanctions can be lifted up.
So you think Saudi Arabia is actually putting their poker face right now?
Yes. It's just trying to play the good, should I say, player in the market and say, well, we didn't know about this, we're trying to settle it. But if things turn to bad, they will try to respond in that light.
All right, then let's move on to Iran on the other end of the divide. Very interesting sanctions are coming up on the 4th. What do you make of these sanctions?
Well, the U.S. have placed those sanctions, and the plan is in play. They would try to take out 1.5 million barrels per day off Iran. The eventual plan is to take it to total zero. Now, Iran has stepped out to say they would continue to produce their oil in full capacity. Now, they've gone to meet with other things, and Russia has signed a deal with Iran to help them market their product in the global market. Now, you know that saying that they say, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now, we've seen South Korea, we've seen Japan stop importation just based on that sanction, but China has increased it. So you have China and Russia working against the U.S. just to help Iran.
And the U.S. has put some very strong statements out there already saying that if you trade with Iran, you will not trade with the U.S. I've heard some other companies like the Mercedes-Benz are already making decisions in that line. But how do you see this playing out going down the line?
Well, if you check back, the Eurozone, these sanctions are actually not the UN sanctions. They are US sanctions. The Eurozone have come and have stepped out that they will try to create a legal entity system where they can actually transact bypassing the dollar. We know oil is priced with the dollar. So if the Eurozone can find that system, then they are going to still trade with Iran going forward.
How would you look at that relationship between Russia and Iran playing out in the mix of all this happening?
Well, Russia and U.S. are not in good terms. Iran and U.S. are not in good terms. Iran, Russia are friends based on the enmity they have with U.S. That's their common enemy, right? So they will continue to work together to make things bearable for them in the market, really. They're just helping themselves.
Okay, looking at other things that could impact the markets as well, you know, the U.S. President Donald Trump is scheduled to meet Putin on the 11th of November. What do you make of these two relationships and the general impact on oil?
Those meetings are basically optics for me, really. They are just optics. They all have their things that they are doing. Trump has the plan to come off as a should I say patriotic president to the U.S. and Putin is also trying to just ease things. But you know how the Russians are; they're more subtle in their effect and how they want to react to things. So the meeting for me is basically optics.
Then issues of Brexit, we're seeing a lot of you know, traction going on with Brexit in this future. How do you see this playing out in the oil?
With Brexit?
Yeah.
Well, Brexit is in that loggerhead phase. So Theresa May and her cabinet are trying to push a particular plan. The EU are also saying that this plan will not work. They have the Irish backstop, which is being a problem, right? Northern Ireland and Ireland in itself, the Republic of Ireland, are trying to, Northern Ireland is still part of the UK. Republic of Ireland is within the EU. So they are trying to work at the border. Theresa May is saying you cannot separate the UK based on Brexit. And you are saying that, well, you can't put us in a back foot based on the fact that you have chosen to leave the euro. So they are still in that loggerhead place, and we'll see how that pans out, really.
All right, taking things back to Nigeria, finally, I just want you to speak to the impact of the 2019 elections. We've seen that there are usually some heightened security issues around towards the election. We've not heard about the Niger Delta in a bit, but those are some things that we kind of hear, as we go closer to the election. What do you think about first our production stability and then the issues around the 2019 elections?
So. Right now, we are still falling short on our production capability or capacity. Ideally, we should be producing about 2.5 million barrels per day, but we are not meeting that target. Now, if we try to work around the logistic handling, given our production capacity, and with the fundamental variables that we're working with now, we can see a increment in price, which will benefit the country going forward. We know that 2/3 of oil revenue are actually for government, and they would use that to go on and settle on state revenues. So if you think about it, with the political, should I say, risk coming back, a lot of things are really just kept on the sidelines now and just trying to look at the variables around it, really.